In 2006, I entered real estate. I was a financial advisor doing very well. I had disposable income, and I figured all my wealthiest clients were investing in real estate, so I wanted to do that. So me and my best friend, Mike, joined forces. I was going to put the money up to buy this dilapidated old house in the country out in the town called Gasport, New York, and we were going to renovate it. Mike was going to do the work with me. He was going to do sweat equity. I was going to put the money in. We were going to split the profits. That was my first flip in 2006. It was supposed to be a $40,000 profit, which actually ended up being about an $8,000 profit almost a year later, but I was hooked. I kept doing real estate all the way up to the point of in 2014, after the Great Recession, after I had kept buying real estate from 2009 to 2014 and then lost it all because the bank pulled the plug on my financing. Myself, and at the time, my fiance, Larissa, decided we were going to start flipping houses. We had saw on TV a show all about flipping. And I had gone to a seminar where that TV show star was putting on a seminar in my backyard. So I went reserved, didn't really think much about doing anything else. I was just going to get a little bit of knowledge. Still a financial advisor, but I had just gone through one of the hardest crashes of my life when I lost all those apartment buildings and had to sell them all. So here I am sitting in this seminar listening. I got so excited when I saw two gentlemen speak, Mike and Greg, that I ran to the back, paid the $2,000 to go to the 3-day seminar. And that was it. The hardest part was when I had to come home and tell my fiance, Larissa, after this hard time financially, that I had just spent $2,000 on the credit card and she had to go to a 3-day event in Rochester, New York, and she had to take a couple of days off of work. That didn't go over so well, but she did go. And that moment, we became house flippers. There's a couple of things missing in that story, but we took the plunge and we started buying real estate, learning the hard knocks, going through, failing, learning, all the way up to the point where in 2014, we had been flipping, we'd been wholesaling, we had a couple rentals. So we went out to this seminar and we're sitting in the front row, and up the aisle walks Tarek and Christina. And they get on the stage, and I remember hearing them talk, but I looked at my wife because my mind wouldn't shut off. I said, you know what? And if we're ever going to get on that stage, Larissa, we have to have our own show. And there the idea became reality. That's taking action, folks. You see, that idea that I needed a show like Tarek and Christina had, Flip or Flop. We needed a show for us to get on that stage. And I could think of nothing else other than me getting on that stage and telling the story. My story, not their story. So off we went. We hired a film crew, the guys that used to film all my skateboard and snowboard videos when I had my shops, Batman board shops. We brought them on and we filmed sizzle reels on one of the flips we were doing over on Hopkins Road. We grinded through that thing and we came up with some really funny sizzle reels. We sent them out to all the networks and they all said no. Said, you don't fit in a little square box. So we regrouped. We found somebody that knew a thing or two about this world. And they said, yes, you need to find out what the networks are looking for and you need to fill the box. And that's what we did. We found a producer that knew what the network wanted. We modified our idea to their idea and we solved the problem for HGTV. And that problem was we fit the box. Husband, wife, crazy contractor friend, ex-pro snowboarder, fit the box, and we were flipping houses. And then all of a sudden we went on and we got the show. We got the pilot, which was a big step. And then all of a sudden our pilot went out and we were the #1 show out of Greenlight and our show was airing. Now, I want to prelude a couple things during this period. You see, this whole thing is happening. I'm a financial advisor. At that time, I had just finished my pro snowboarding career, but everything in our life was geared toward one fundamental goal: get the TV show. And then everything else in your life will be easy. You'll make money. You'll get endorsements. You guys will be stars. You'll be bigger than Tarek and Christina. This is all I thought about day and night. This is all my wife thought about day and night. Because in the process, we had gotten married somewhere in there. So when you're focused on one singular thing, nothing else really matters except for the goal and accomplishing the goal. Well, we had been accomplishing that goal step by step, inch by inch, mile by mile. We moved up to the point where our show was now going to air. #2 out of Greenlight, which means we were the #2 runner-up to have the new show. So here we go. Everything. I remember at this moment, I had my financial advisory career. I had to go to my compliance officer and I had to get another OBA, an outside business activity. And I remember I called them up thinking, okay, well, this should be easy. Hey, we got this thing we've been doing. We're going to be having a TV show on HGTV. Can I get an OBA for that? The answer was no. The answer wasn't just no. It was, you have to make a decision, kid. Are you going to be a financial advisor or are you going to be a TV show star? Decision was made. Sell the practice. Went over to Mike's office, the guy next to me. I said, Mike, you want to buy my business? Yes. Sold. Done. All boats were now burned. There was one singular goal. We either succeed and get this show and become the next TV show stars, or we're stuck because we just burned the boats. I'll never forget it. One evening, driving, I had a black GMC pickup truck that we used for all the house flipping. And I looked down and my phone's ringing. And on the caller ID was the production house. See, this is the call I'd been waiting for. This is that one singular call I'd been waiting for the entire month. This was the one. They were calling to tell us that our show was going on to series. Risky Builders, the name of our show, was going to be the next hottest thing that HGTV had ever seen. I picked the phone up, super excited. I knew the call. I knew what the answer was going to be. You guys got it. You guys ready? You guys are going to be the next stars. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But it wasn't that tone. It was a somber tone on the other line. I started getting nervous. He proceeds to tell me that HGTV was bought by Discovery. And when Discovery bought it, it displaced all the people that knew Risky Builders and were rooting us on and taking us through Greenlight. They were now being put over to the home shopping division or the whatever they do, the home gardening division. They were all displaced. And then the breaking news, the nail in the coffin came. They're not going to move forward with your show. You're not going on to be the next TV show stars. That was it. That was the call. I'd burned the boats. Me and Larissa had all of our hopes on this. We'd been waiting for this call, but we already knew the results of the call. We had envisioned getting that call where it was, you guys are going to be raging success. And now all of a sudden, everything just went up in flames. All I could think about is, do I just smash my foot down in the accelerator and hard jerk the wheel to the right and run into that tree? Because how am I going to go home and tell my wife that our dreams just ended with one phone call? I remember walking in the door and I remember looking at her in tears and I broke the news to her. She handled it quite well. I was the one that was an emotional mess. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't have a backup plan at this point. This was it. This was everything we wanted. And that was the only thing I could think of. And now that was gone. How many of you can relate? How many of you have ever worked so hard at something and then all of a sudden it just doesn't happen? All of a sudden the dream just goes up in smoke. We think life's over. We think that's it. There's no more. Call it a day. Some people do. That's that pinky they're hanging on by. They're hanging on by one pinky. And that pinky just let loose. And I remember I was at that point and at that very moment, my phone rings. I'm in no mood to talk to anybody. And I look down and it's Greg. Remember I told you those two guys that I met at that event, Mike and Greg. It was Greg from that. Greg had been lending us money. Greg had become a friend. Greg had become a business partner because Greg was right behind us on this TV show. He was going to be a sponsor. He was going to take us there. So I thought, oh, great. How did he find out? The first thing through my mind, negativity, because I was in a negative state of mind. And I answer the phone and it's Greg and he's so cheerful. He's so happy. He's like, Chris, I can't wait. We're going to be doing huge things together. I'm so excited to be working together with you, all this stuff. And only thing in my mind, the only thing I could think of to say is, who told you? He's trying to cheer me up. That's all he's trying to do. Somebody told him, somebody tipped him off. He's just trying to cheer me up. And I said, who told you? He said, told me what? No, I know you're just trying to make me feel better. Really, who told you? I don't know what you mean. I'm just happy we're working together. I'm excited about this new venture. I'm excited about our partnership. I'm excited about all the things we're going to do together. And I said, wait a second, you don't know. He says, no, what? And I said, you don't know that HGTV decided not to move forward with our show. See, at this point, I thought, because we didn't get the show, now we're losers. Nobody's going to want to hang out with us. Nobody's going to want to partner with us. Nobody's going to want to do anything with us because you know what? We didn't make it. That wasn't the case. You see, the moral of this story is through this whole thing, I had been so fixated on one goal. And then that door slammed shut with one phone call. No more show. You're not going to series. My life shattered, but you know what that did is that opened another door. Greg was that other door. What you also don't know is during this period of time, Mike, the other one from earlier at that event, had been lending me money. And I had met him out in Salt Lake City at a cheesecake factory. And he had told me about this private banking system he was doing and the stuff he was doing. And he referred me to Brent Kessler, who today is my mentor, one of my dearest friends, and, you know, just somebody that I look up to. And Brent introduced me to the infinite banking concept and the money multiplier method. Clearly, if any of you know what I do today, that is what I speak on. It's what I teach. It's what I do. It's my life. That door was opened because of all of this. You see, one event after another, one house flip after one private loan, after one introduction, after one seminar, after one event, after one phone call saying that that wasn't happening. Every one of those inch stones or milestones, whichever you want to call them, was a door opening. And when one door closed, the show, it opened up the door to everything else. It opened up the door to do everything that I do today. You see, there's a lot of pieces of this story I'm leaving out, but it doesn't matter because what matters is you need to understand that everything that happens to you in your life is for some defined reason. I can't ever explain it. We can think of a lot of things that happen in people's lives. You're like, there's no way that was destined to happen. We don't know that. All I can tell you is from personal experience, that moment, I felt like the world crashed down on me, but that moment was the moment that the door shut to the thing I wasn't supposed to be doing, the thing that only got me that far, the lessons I'd learned, the things that had happened during that entire run up to get the show wasn't my destiny, wasn't where I'm supposed to be. That door opened and I walked through it. Your life is no different. When one door closes, another one opens for you. You just have to understand it's all by design. Don't fight it. Go with it. The more you fight things, the more you push yourself into things. And I'm not saying I just walked easily through that door. Gosh, the whole thing with me meeting Brent came from, desperation of my wife. Brent had come out to our RIA and he was speaking and doing the money multiplier presentation. We always took him out to dinner after. He took us out to dinner for that matter. And I remember he was exhausted that night. My wife saw this. And my wife kicked me under the table because she had mentioned to me earlier, Chris, you should be helping Brent. You should help him build this. You could do that. You could be the other speaker that goes around and tells the money multiplier message. And I'm like, no, I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm building this company. I'm doing this. Always an excuse, always an ego to overcome. And I remember she kicks me under the table and I just look at her and she finally says to Brent, Chris and I were talking. He wants to help you. He wants to go on the road and speak and do the money multiplier talk and teach people and help thousands of people solve their money problems and on and on and on. And I looked at her crazy. I'm like, I didn't agree to this. And Brent said, absolutely. I definitely could use help. I know you could do this. Let's get together. When would you like to come down and talk about this? So we set the appointment for me to fly to Florida and meet with him and his wife and kind of talk about this. And I remember all the way, even up to that day, when I was flying out, I remember thinking, well, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to talk to Brent about this thing that I want to do. And I can do that along with helping him out. But it was ego because it was still me, my thing. Yeah, maybe I'll help you with yours. Me, my. It led to a big fight with me and my wife. And finally, I put my guard down. I went out there and I literally just said, how do I serve you? How do I help you? I didn't go out there saying, how do I help you? But I need this. I just went out and said, how do I help you? And we created everything that we still do today. Folks, when one door closes, another one opens. When you have a WTF moment, just understand the next phase is oh my God, that was